So this teenage girl has a huge glow up, and then she just starts killing people. Why? Now the girl's name is Christine, and Christine is 17 years old, living in Texas, and poor Christine has a problem. She has alopecia, so she's pretty much bald. Now obviously, as a young woman in high school, she's very insecure about all this. And even though she wears wigs to school and stuff, the other students are really cruel to her and they bully her over her condition. Then, one day in 2002, her whole life changes because she meets these two girls, Rachel and Tiffany. And Rachel and Tiffany are two of the prettiest and most popular girls in the school. And they are legitimately good people. So they become friends with Christine and they sort of take her under their wing. And over time, as they all hang out, Rachel and Tiffany start giving Christine makeovers. And they teach her how to dress better and how to do her makeup. They help her find more flattering wigs to wear to school. And soon enough, she's got a totally new look. And she goes from looking like this to looking like this. And as you could predict, her social status at school completely changes. No one teases her anymore. In fact, she's now considered one of the hot girls, which means the whole school thinks she is fine. So Christine's life has completely changed thanks to Rachel and Tiffany. And these three girls become close, like really close. I mean, she likes them and she trusts them. In fact, they're the only two people she allows to see her without a wig. That's how much she trusts them. So the next school year comes, and it's now 2003. And Christine is still popular. She's now in her senior year, and at the school ball, the student body votes her as Miss Irresistible. So good for her. But then her life changes again. Because one night she's out at a party and she meets this loser. His name is Snyder. And Snyder is 21 and he's kind of taken on the cliche role of the bad boy. Like he's got a criminal record and a habit of doing hard drugs. Here's a mugshot from one of his previous convictions. So Christine and Snyder hit it off and they start dating, and soon he officially becomes her boyfriend. And as you could probably guess, he becomes a bad influence on her. So she starts getting into drugs as well. And these two form this shitty, toxic relationship. Like Snyder is all pushy and aggressive with her, and Christine is all jealous and insecure because of, her past. And if Snyder looks at another woman, she'll hit him, so he nicknames her the Psycho. Sometimes, after they get into a big fight, Christine will hang around on Snyder's front yard, yelling and screaming, threatening to kill his whole family and whatnot. Or she'll try to break into his house by rattling the screen door. And when all that doesn't work, instead of just going home like a normal person, sometimes she'll sleep on Snyder's front lawn.
That's crazy.
So yeah, it's safe to say that these two are really, really bad for each other. Now, at some point this same year, 2003, these two turds run into a big problem. They're starting to run out of drugs. And they can't get any more because they're also running out of money. And that is when Christine starts thinking that her old friends, Tiffany and Rachel, probably have access to some money. And also to some drugs, because apparently Tiffany's boyfriend and other friend are drug dealers. So that summer, Christine and Snyder come up with a plan. A plan to go to Tiffany's house and steal any money and any drugs that she or Rachel may have there and essentially rob them at gunpoint. So they go over to Tiffany's house, and Tiffany and Rachel are there along with two other guys that they're hanging out with. And of course, Tiffany and Rachel have no idea that Christine and Snyder are planning to rob anyone. They just think they're there to hang out like normal. So Christine and Rachel break off and they go hang out in another room in another part of the house, while Snyder stays in the living room with Tiffany and the other two guys. When suddenly, boom, Snyder pulls out a gun and he points it at the other three. Right then, Christine and Rachel come back to the living room and they see Snyder holding everyone at gunpoint. And everyone is pleading for their lives and saying, "Just take whatever you want, just don't hurt us." Then Christine pulls a gun out of her purse and she starts pointing it at her friends too. Now, I don't know if the guys stopped cooperating or what, but suddenly, blam, Snyder shoots one of the guys, then blam, he shoots the other guy. Then, blam, blam, Christine shoots Tiffany and Rachel, her own best friends.
Back though.
After that, Christine and Snyder grab a big bag of drugs and they calmly walk out of the house and head back to their car. But before they leave, Christine wants to make 100% sure that everyone is really dead, so that no one can turn them in. So she goes back into the house, and sure enough, Rachel is actually still alive, just barely. And Christine pistol whips her with the gun until she's no longer living.
That's crazy.
Then they leave, and Snyder drives Christine to work. She actually works at Walgreens. So less than an hour after the murder, she's at her shift at Walgreens, like she didn't just murder 4 of her friends. Now, of course, eventually, Rachel, Tiffany, and the others, their bodies are found, and police get involved, and they start an investigation. But they have no idea who could have done this, they have 0 leads, 0 suspects, and eventually the case goes cold. And so, some time passes, and it's now 2004. And by this point, Christine and Snyder have long broken up, and they've both gone their separate ways. So Snyder is actually now in jail for Grand Theft Auto. Here's his mugshot. While Christine is in rehab for heroin addiction. And while she's in rehab, she ends up confessing and talking about the murders to some random guy friend that she made in there. I guess she just wanted to get all that off her chest. Not only that, but she also meets another guy in rehab. And those two hit it off and they start dating. Here is a picture of the two of them. And about a year later, in 2005, once they're both clean, they get married and they start living a normal life. But then, one night, something unexpected happens. Christine and her husband are at home watching TV. And a news story comes on talking about the murders from 2 years before. The murders that she helped commit. Not only that, but the news segment features 2 police sketches of a male and a female suspect. And so Christine starts freaking out like, oh shit, they know what I look like. And she starts confessing everything to her husband about how she and her ex ambushed her best friends from high school and murdered them and how they got away with it. And so instead of turning Christine in, they decide to go on the run and they flee. And they end up all the way in Texas, hiding out in a shitty motel together. And from there, they go on a massive drug binge. And they're shooting up like $500 worth of smack and coke every single day. Plus, they're living on a diet of like Cheez-Its and Reese's Peanut Butter Cups and soda. And this deviant behavior goes on for 7 months. Until... Remember back when Christine was in rehab and she ended up confessing to some random guy friend that she made there? Well, for some reason, it took that guy years to finally report it to police. And police are able to track Christine's ATM withdrawals back to that shitty motel that she and her husband are staying in. And so, bam, they arrest her. Here's her mugshot. Not only that, but soon Christine's ex, Snyder, finds out about the arrest, and he knows he's fucked. So he flees his girlfriend's home and he runs out into the woods with over 200 pills, and he takes them all, and he ends up unaliving himself. While Christine ultimately goes to trial, and she's found guilty, and she's sentenced to life in prison.
She did what she did.